Episode 10 was fantastic as always. Promise Neverland never, ever, ever deliver something bad as of right now, and I am just in awe of how they did this episode. It was so amazing. So let's get right into it. Uh, Previous episode, we found out that Norman is gonna leave. He's been called to be quote unquote adopted, and we found out also that there's a cliff at the edge of the wall, and he is telling them, yeah, there's a cliff, and that's why there's no other security on here, and they didn't underestimate us. They basically knew that we could not escape. It's just too far away. And then he also said he also ran along the wall, and it looks like there's other farms around, and it makes like a hexagon. And he says, oh, on this side is where headquarters is, so like that place is bad, but that's the only place also that there's a bridge. So he's like, it's like, I had to tell you this, and I didn't want anyone else to die. And they're all pissed off. They're like, come on, you had to leave and all this stuff. And he said, and he just hugs him. He hugs him and says, no, thank you for everything. And it is so hard to see because he's holding him tight, and especially Ray was hurt really bad. We knew Emma would be, but Ray, like, he started to cry. He was distraught that Norman came back, and Emma's face also was just one of pain and sorrow and knowing the inevitable. So we have that moment there, and as Norman is packing his things up, or not really packing because he knows what's going to happen, he actually finds this little toy, I forget what they're called, toy communicator with these two cups. You communicate with a cup and a string, and he kind of reminisces about the time he got sick, and he did this. He had Emma always coming into his room, even though Mama was telling him that he needed to be quarantined, and how they spoke through those two cups. And that's actually the only thing he puts in his suitcase. In the episode at his farewell, Emma tries one last thing and goes, and it looks like she wants just to say goodbye, but Emma always has an ulterior motive, and so she hugs him really, really hard, and then tries to use the little electric EMP type thing to disable his locator, but he stops her right before she can do it, and they have like this fight. Like, you don't be reckless, and then even Mama like comes out. He's like, you do another commotion, I'll kill you. And Mama never saw this EMP thingy, because you see him and Emma doing one more handshake as he's about to leave, and he tells him, don't give up. And she holds on to it, or he puts the EMP little thingy into her palm. Then he leaves, and this is where things are interesting, because as they're walking to the gate, Mama and Norman start talking, and one of the things that comes up is Mama says, I'm glad you had like a life of happiness and all that. And he says, Mama, like, are you happy? And for whatever reason, this like startled Mama. You see her face, and she's just so surprised at the question that was asked of her. And it's funny, now there's so many implications. Like, is it because no one's ever asked her if she's happy, or has that feeling just gone away for being this tyrant for so many years, to the death of so many children? Like, we there's so many things it could be, but she loses her composure for a little bit, but then regains it and just says, yeah, I'm happy. And then comes the final moment. We see Norman, and we see that truck where Connie was in the bag, and he starts walking to. He's not even glancing. He's not shivering. He's just walking right to the truck. Right before he gets there, Mama says, hey, you have to wait in this room. And he goes into the room. It's lit. It's opened. And you see him look up, surprised, and the door closes, and done. We don't know what happened, because it doesn't give us any explanation. All we have now is Emma and Ray basically thinking that he's dead, and he might as well be dead. I mean, we don't know what his fate is. We don't know if what they're gonna do to him. If maybe they're doing another experiment on him. Maybe I think it was Tefari. they're gonna have him sent to the Tefari. Like there's so many things that could be happening, but all of it just does not bode well for him. I don't think there's a good outcome for him. And this really puts a damper on their escape plan. Actually, it gets to the point where Ray doesn't want to do it anymore. Ray is basically saying, I'm sorry, I'm giving up. We can all just die. And Emma tries to kind of motivate him a little bit, but he's like, nope, I'm sorry. And they're taking Norman away was a brilliant move for Mama, which, I mean, it wasn't her plan to take him away, but the higher ups, it was their perfect plan to take him away because it basically destroyed their morale. And then we have like this little time skip of 2 months where we see Emma just wallowing in self-pity. I mean, even during this time, we have like Mama saying that she wants to recommend Emma as a mama or a sister, and that even destroys her because she doesn't want to ever do that. Then we finally get to the final scene, which, like I said, is a 2-month time skip to the last night of Ray's time in the house, and he's just in this dark room. I think he's in the cafeteria actually. He's just whistling, and he has a box with him. And Emma goes down there, and they start talking. And like I said, for the past few minutes, we've seen Emma just distraught, and she's basically a shell of herself. And as they're talking, and he's like, Norm and Ray's saying like, I'm reminiscing all this stuff, and he's like, but I haven't given up. He's like, and you, what about you? You haven't given up either, Emma, have you? And then you see this face, this determined face, this face of spirit, this face that can't be broken of Emma's. And she just gives this big smile, and the scene ends. And now we know Emma is playing Mama like a fool, like a fiddle, because she is, she basically is putting on this show, this play, I'm pretty sure to make Mama think that all hope is lost, and that she's just gonna wallow in self-pity until she dies. So Emma's very very smart in having playing that part. And now we're in the final act of the series, of the season. I think it's 12 episodes. I want to say it's 12 episodes. So this is where we're gonna see. We're gonna see the escape, because Emma's not going down without a fight. She obviously has some sort of plan. Ray always has some sort of plan. So now we're gonna see it and see what happens. Oh my gosh, I can't wait! It's gonna be so cool. But anyway, this was a great episode, and they added a lot of stuff that wasn't in the manga. Or they expanded upon, like the whole reminiscence reminiscing time that Norman had with Emma. I can't remember if that was in the manga or not, but I don't believe it was. But that little thing was just really cool, just to see that, because it gave a little bit of, or alleviated the tension that was there, to show a tender moment that he had, and why he really cares for Emma, because this was packed full of tension, and we needed that to alleviate for a little bit. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen next week. Oh, we're so close to the end, and I can't wait to see it. Alright, let me know what you guys think. Like and subscribe, leave a comment, and thank you so much for listening. This is David the Smash Fan from Chibi Podcast, and I'm out.